Well, those semifinals at the US Open delivered, both men's and women's, great matches, all four of them. And we are now ready for some special finals. Sinner Alcaraz doesn't get better. Anisamova Sabalenka, incredible. This video is going to break down the semifinals, how we got to the finals, and it's going to explain why I believe that Carlos Alcaraz will beat Jannik Sinner in the final of the US Open on Sunday. So we've got a lot to get into, a lot to break down. This is the slice presented by Canada House NYC. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the channel, you beautiful people. If you're new here, welcome to The Slice. I'm Stephen Boughton, the host and founder of The Slice. I break down matches like this one in the final. I react to matches. We break down tournaments. We interview the best players in the world, mainly Canadians. We have a podcast. So thanks for subscribing, supporting the show. And for those of you who are in Canada House, New York City, this is a party at the beginning of the tournament that we kicked off to support Canadians at the US Open. And yeah, it seems to have worked. We got Felix Auger-Aliassime all the way to the semifinals. And now we're going to break down the semifinal matches here. But I want to first start off with a quick personal story about Felix Auger-Aliassime. Many of you hadn't, if you're just following tennis in the last couple of years, you haven't seen Felix play his best tennis until this tournament. But the guy is absolutely unreal. He's top 10 material when he's playing his best tennis. And I think he proved that tonight and in this tournament. But he's also just an amazing human being. So back in 2022, when I was on the beat in Europe, following the tour, following him, I was in Basel when he won his tournament. It was his third tournament in a row that he had won. And he went all the way through the draw. I did a quick audio interview with him during the week. You know, he knew I was the only Canadian tennis journalist there. And after he won the title, beating Holger Rune in the final, after beating Alcaraz in the semifinal, he's there doing the final press conference, and I'm there. I got my hand up to get chosen while the English questions are going, and the person moderating kept overpassing me, didn't pick me. And then she says, okay, we're going to switch to French now. And Felix stopped her and said, hey, I think he wants to ask a couple questions, and pointed towards me. Again, we had barely met. And she was like, oh, okay. And then she let me ask a few questions to Felix as the only Canadian there. So he didn't need to do that. You know, I didn't ask. I wasn't making a scene. He just kind of is a nice enough guy to understand that it takes a lot of work to travel and put yourself in these media rooms. So he just is a real one. He understands the real world and one of the nicest guys on tour. So if you're looking to be a fan of someone, be a fan of Felix Auger-Aliassime. I'm not getting paid to say that. He's just a great guy, and he played great tennis today against Jannik Sinner. Sinner comes through in 4 sets. He's the number 1 player in the world for a reason, but Felix definitely proved that he's got the game to play with the best players in the world and compete with them, because this was actually a close match. And a lot of people didn't think it was going to be. So you commented on the last video. If you said he's going to get beaten so bad, repent now. Comment down below. Say you're sorry. I'll accept it as long as you repent, and we can move on. But this match went how, Sinner wins, and that's not surprising. Over the last 3 years, Sinner's become the number 1 player in the world by, one of the most dominant number 1s in the world on the surface. And Felix has really struggled at the majors. But this tournament, he's found his form and found a play style that is going to be a winning style against most players in the world, and will be able to challenge the best and put him right where he wants to be in these tournaments. Full aggression with his forehand, serving well, trusting his forehand, trusting that shot from anywhere in the baseline, coming forward, playing great at the net, playing downhill. That's what Felix Auger-Aliassime needs to do. He's one of the best athletes on tour. He's got a huge serve, huge forehand. He was letting those weapons do the talking this tournament, and it was paying off for him. So this match, here's the semifinals. Sinner, Auger-Aliassime, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 in 3 hours and 21 minutes. This was a battle. And after, first 0-2, Sinner gets the break right away against Felix, and a lot of people are thinking, oh, this might be a quick night. But in the second set, Felix comes out and plays a great set on his first serve. Look at the stats there. He made 76% of his first serves, and he won 15 out of 16 of those first serve points. He won all of his second serves. He literally lost 1 point on serve, which is insane. 5 aces. He broke center once, for 1 out of the 5 times that he got there. He got a break point. 11 winners, 8 unforced errors. So great second set from Felix. Kind of blitzed center, and then center wins the third one, makes a good comeback there. And the fourth set was tight. Felix won 78% of his first serves. The big kicker, though, 0 for 5 on break points. So he was 1 for 10 in the whole match. Felix was only able to convert 1 of his 10 break points. So that's a story. But really, there's only, I believe, 3 or 4 players who have had that many break points against center in the last couple of years, according to Tennis Abstract. And yeah, the thing that from Felix Auger-Aliassime's perspective, he probably would have liked a retry at tonight was second serve returns. Sinner won for the match. He won 67% of his second serves. To me, that's too high. As a returner, you want to win. You want to keep the server's second serve win percentage in the 50s for sure. Close to that 50% mark is where you want to be. And 67 is way too high. So Felix wasn't doing enough with the second serve return. He wasn't winning enough of those points. And there's a few of them on break point where he had the second serve looks and he missed those returns, which you could see him feel the pain for. But from the baseline, Sinner and Alcaraz were trading blows big time. Like the center forehand backhand are so good, especially when he's on the move. And the backhand to backhand rallies, you could definitely see an advantage for Sinner. And in the forehand to forehand, Sinner's ability to hit the pace that he hits on his forehand with not a lot of time to prepare, like it's crazy. He can get a full ready position to hit his forehand so quickly, even off of a fastball from Auger-Aliassime. So you did see a lot of some of the times the pace and the depth and almost like the lack of a shape on the shot from Sinner when he was hitting a hard forehand rushed Felix a little bit on his forehand. But in general, Felix held in those baseline rallies much better than a lot of people thought he would, and battled, came forward, hit winners. He hit more winners than Sinner. He hit for the match 36 to 33 from Sinner, but Sinner only had 22 unforced errors, and Felix had 41 unforced errors, which isn't a bad ratio really when you're trying to be the aggressor in a match versus the world number 1 on his best surface. So great match for Felix. Bit of a grind for Sinner. I think Sinner fans will have been like, they thought that would have been an easier semifinal for him, but he ended up spending like an hour more on court than Alcaraz did. So that's going to be interesting going into the final. Will that affect him? You saw Sinner go off for the medical timeout to get a look at, I believe, his ab. How is he going to be coming into the final? That's the question. On the Djokovic Alcaraz semifinal, this was, tight for 2 sets. And once Alcaraz won the second set tiebreaker, in my head, this match was over because Djokovic was looking physically weathered at the end. And it started to look like Alcaraz was kind of bullying or committing elder abuse against Djokovic, didn't it, in that third set? And Djokovic admitted at the end that he did peter out of energy. But I will say in that second set, early in the set, Alcaraz had break points to go up a break early, didn't take them. And that was looking sketchy because Alcaraz has had moments before where I believe the Cincinnati final 2023, he was up in the match and had the chance to go out further, but didn't take it. And then Djokovic came back and that match stung him. But coming into this match, I felt that the reason I predicted Alcaraz strongly was Alcaraz is playing at a super high level. He's on one of those momentum rides in his career where he's playing great tennis, confidence is super high. So even though he missed a few breakpoint chances midway through that second set, and that could have got awkward, he didn't get broken back, or he didn't get broken. He got it to a tiebreaker, and then in the tiebreaker, got the win. Played a little better than Djokovic did in the tiebreaker, and that was the kicker for Djokovic, really, who ran out of steam. But yeah, that's where he's at. Djokovic is saying, in his post-match press, he was very transparent. He said, it seems like, outside of Felix or outside of Alcaraz and Sinner, he's pretty good. But when he gets to these guys in the majors right now in the 5-set format, it's almost just too much. But if I'm Djokovic, I'm like, I've completed tennis. I've made the semifinals of all 4 majors this year. Why would I not keep playing and challenging myself to see how well I could do against these 2 freaks of nature who are 22 and 24, I think, or 23? Why wouldn't I see how good I can do? My body's still healthy, but and we'll see. Maybe I won't have to play one or both of them in a major, and I could still win one. But I don't think Djokovic can go through Alcaraz or Sinner anymore to win a major. That's just my thought. But that match went the way I thought it would. But it was, again, if Djokovic wins that second set, you never know. But I still think over 5 sets on a hard court where Alcaraz is feeling like that, I just don't see Djokovic getting him at this stage. Onto the women's semifinals, we had Sabalenka Pegula. That was a roller coaster ride, to say the least. American crowd cheering for Pegula. Everyone loves Sabalenka. But yeah, it was wild. 43 winners to 27 unforced errors for Sabalenka, 21 winners to 15 unforced errors for Pegula. Big hitting, lots of power in that match. Crazy to see how Jessie Pegula can absorb and redirect pace from Sabalenka. Very impressed with that. But yeah, that was, as far as that top hat, with Sabalenka being the number 1 player getting the final, I did predict that. But people, for some of the rounds, like the 4th round of quarterfinals, there were some days where the ticket holders did not get their value at all. Whoever had the tickets for the women's semifinals got full value. 6 sets played, all of them really good. Sabalenka Pegula was great tennis throughout. More winners than errors on both sides. Great stuff. Osaka and Anisamova, this one was even better. 2 tie breaks to split the first 2 sets, and then Anisamova, just too much power and shot making brilliance from the baseline. 15 aces from Osaka is crazy. 68% win on first serve. Winners, 50 winners from Anisamova. 45 on forced errors, but 50 winners in 3 sets is big time tennis. That's called show business, baby. So great stuff from Anisamova. I love the way she played, and she bounced back. We haven't talked about it yet, but she bounced back from Wimbledon. Obviously, double bagel in the Wimbledon final to beating Swiatek in the quarters, beating Osaka in the semis, now going to the final. I saw this crazy stat on the TV. It was she's the first player to ever get double bageled in a major match and then make the final of the next major. Absolutely insane stat to be looking up, but it doesn't really surprise me if you think about that, actually. Double bagel to major final is an elite path. So final, we got Sabalenka versus Anisamova. It's going to make a shot maker's dream. Is there any other way to say that? Who's going to hit more winners? Who's going to break down less? Anisamova can get tight for sure. Sabalenka can obviously kind of self-destruct in some ways. So who's going to be able to execute their game better? Who's going to be able to play the aggressive shot making style that they like to play with less errors and be the more consistent aggressive player? That's the question. And it's going to be fascinating to watch tomorrow. That's for sure. All right. Now to the big question for me. Sinner versus Alcaraz. We're going again. We're going again. Right now, the head-to-head is 9-5 for Alcaraz. And yes, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their last 7 matches. Cincinnati doesn't really count. Obviously, Sinner was not well, had to pull out. But Sinner did just win in Wimbledon. So he won their last major match. That's a big one. The Wimbledon final. Carlos won in Roland Garros. Carlos won in Rome. Carlos won in Beijing 2024. Carlos won at Roland Garros 2024. Carlos won at Indian Wells 2024. Sinner won at Beijing 2023. But it is weird to think, like, Sinner's the number 1 player in the world, and he has been for the last year and a bit. But Alcaraz has been dominating their head-to-head, straight up. And now the question is, coming out of this match tomorrow, whoever wins is going to be the world number 1. So my thought is that Alcaraz is the favorite. A lot of people won't say that he's a favorite, but I think he is. Again, we're using the eye test. The 3 reasons that I think he's the favorite is, to me, he just looks fresher. Sinner was getting treated today. playing a 3.5-hour match against Felix Auger-Aliassime. That's not fun. That's physical. He was getting treated. And in general, he had to withdraw from Cincinnati. Just looking at the way he plays, he's not looking 100% comfortable out there. His team, his box looks very kind of stressed out going through the match, even though, in a match versus FAA, it's close, but I still had the feeling that he was going to win most of the match. His team looks very locked in, very kind of stressed out, though, about where he's at. So I think Alcaraz is a fresher player because he just played 38-year-old Novak Djokovic, beat him in 3 sets. Time on court, Sinner's been on court for less time, 12 hours, 56 minutes. Alcaraz has been 14 hours and 35 minutes. So it's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. But that's not a lot to me. In the last 2 matches, Alcaraz has been on court for 3 hours and 57 minutes. Sinner's been on court for 5 hours and 10 minutes. So Alcaraz should be the fresher one coming into the final, actually. And to me, that makes a big deal because he also gets energy from the city, from New York, like I haven't seen anyone else. To me, this year at the US Open, he looks absolutely energized by the city, by the crowd. That's always been the case. But he looks pumped up to be out there. And I think that gives him the extra juice in this match, however long it goes in the final, to be the more fresh, more energetic player. So there's 2 different things, energy and freshness, I think. I think Alcaraz is able to play off the energy better than Sinner. We'll see. I think back to their epic match in 2022 US Open when Alcaraz won that one. It went to like 3 a.m, one of the most epic matches in US Open final history. Alcaraz won, went on to win the tournament. Yes, Sinner's a different player now. So is Alcaraz. And Alcaraz, speaking of energy, is on the up. He's in one of the peaks of his career. He can have peaks and valleys. Sinner's more stable. He's on the peak, and I think Alcaraz's peak is higher than Sinner's peak, even on a hard court like this. I said what I said. Let me know what you think below. And lastly, the serve. Serve return is huge, obviously. Sinner's got the bigger serve. Alcaraz, though, has been serving, or his first serve, he's been playing behind his first serve and serving it very well. Accurate, more accurate than has been in the past. He's won above 80% of his first serve points in every match this tournament, including 84% against Djokovic, showing that he's hitting his first serve well and playing incredibly well behind it. That's Novak Djokovic, arguably the greatest returner of all time. Sinner's probably the best returner on tour right now, but Alcaraz winning 84% of his first serves against Djokovic shows that he's playing that behind that shot at a very high level right now. Conversely, Sinner only won 76% of his first serves against Felix Auger-Aliassime, who is not the best returner. So to me, as of right now, Alcaraz is coming in more fresh. He's playing behind and hitting his first serve better. And I think he plays off the energy in the crowd better. So I think he's got more momentum. And if I had to pick, I'm picking Alcaraz to win because of mainly those points. But obviously, these 2 kids are unbelievable. So if I'm going to break down a tactical advantage, I can't really do it because it's going to come down to who plays better in the big moments, who imposes their game more, and both guys can do it to each other. So the difference here, I think, between Wimbledon, the ball skids and stays low. To me, when Sinner was playing downhill, hitting huge from the baseline, the ball skidding and staying low into Alcaraz, I don't think he likes attacking from that position, and the ball can get behind him a little bit more. Here at the US Open, the ball's still skidding, but the ball does bounce higher. So on Alcaraz's shots where he has the heaviness, that does hurt Sinner more. He's able to hurt Sinner more with height, not just pace, like he did at the French Open. And they're both unbelievable movers on hard court. But I do think that attacking tennis that Sinner plays downhill, the ball's going to bounce up more, get more into Alcaraz's strike zone. And conversely, with Alcaraz's shots back, they'll get more out of Sinner's strike zone. And he'll be able to go around the outside of the ball more, pull Sinner off the court more, and move him a bit more. So I like Alcaraz's chances, honestly, just based on the way he's playing too, here more than at Wimbledon. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I picked Sinner at Wimbledon to win that final, and he did. I'm picking Alcaraz here, and those are the reasons why. Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, let me know your thoughts on everything. Felix, Djokovic, Sabalenka, Anisamova, everyone. We got a great weekend of tennis coming up ahead of us. We are very, very lucky people. So until after the finals, we'll see you then. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram for updates. And thanks for watching. Leave your comments below, and we will see you in the comment section.